specifically, Mr. Secretary, what is the authority that the administration is using to deploy active duty Marines to California neighborhoods? What authority?
Senator, the president has constitutional authority in order to support.
Cite the provision of the Constitution.
I'd have to pull up the specific provision, but our Office of General Counsel, alongside our leadership, has reviewed and ensured in the order that we set out that it's completely constitutional for the president to use federal troops to defend federal law enforcement.
The Senate hearing centered on the president's authority to deploy active duty Marines to U.S. neighborhoods, specifically in California. A senator pressed the Secretary of Defense to cite the exact constitutional or statutory authority behind this deployment. The Secretary referenced constitutional powers, but could not name the exact provision during the hearing, promising to follow up.
Look, I'd like to know the specific constitutional statutory authority. The president made it clear that he relied on Section 12406 of Title 10 with regard to the National Guard troops. I need to know the authority that he is relying upon in terms of active duty Marines being deployed to California neighborhoods.
Senator,
so you'll follow up with me?
Yes, Senator, but there's plenty of precedent of active duty troops being used to support law enforcement, historical precedent.
I'm not disputing that. I am just asking you to cite the authority under which the active duty Marines are being deployed to California.
It's in the order, ma'am, but we'll make sure we get it to you as well.
Thank you. I want to dovetail on a couple of other comments also with regard to the lack of specific detail in the budget request for the Department of Defense. I take great pride in Wisconsin's contributions to our national defense, and that includes many Wisconsinites who are hard at work building the Constellation-class frigate. There is no mention of frigate procurement, just like Senator Collins noted that there's no mention of destroyer procurement in the budget materials that you provided to this committee. My state makes the frigate. I'd also note that there's no mention of the destroyers, as I said. So really, we are looking at a very incomplete budget request when we are just 4 months out from the beginning of the next fiscal year. Mr. Secretary, this committee takes the appropriations process seriously. I take the hard work of Wisconsin's shipbuilders seriously, and I'd like your commitment to provide this material to the committee expeditiously so we can do our work.
Senator, we'll make sure you get all the information, but what I would say is this is a historic investment in shipbuilding, both the defense industrial base and ships. In Wisconsin, and particularly related to the frigate, it's been a program with a lot of problems and a lot of delays and a lot of modifications that have led to serious
Navy
challenges.
has called for many modifications to the plan.
I'm not saying that's all the fault of the shipyard. There are many ways in which modifications were made that changed an existing design so extensively that it led to a ship that was not even capable of the original mission it was supposed to execute. So our job is to make tough choices on some platforms like that may not be funded the way they were in the past, because we have to make some of those tough choices.
Well, we don't have any of the detail right now of what your plans are with regard to the frigate or the destroyer, and we need that information to do our jobs. Can you get it to me?
We have that information, Senator. We have worked in real time in 4 months to reverse a lot of priorities from the previous administration. We have those details and that information, and we will get it to you.
Well, the committee needs those details. So this committee has also worked hard alongside the department to improve recruitment and meet retention goals. The department is planning to separate several thousand service members due to your partisan beliefs about troops who are transgender. Mr. Secretary, I've seen your speeches and social media posts, but what I'm interested in is the sound policy analysis that we would expect from the Secretary of Defense on how this misguided decision will impact military readiness. My colleagues and I have requested this information from you, and we are still waiting to receive it. And so I will ask you now, what assessment did the Department of Defense conduct prior to implementation to evaluate the impact that this policy would have on our national security? Moreover, what is the cost to recruit and train thousands of individuals of comparable experience and skill?
Thankfully, recruiting is not an issue. It's at historically high levels, and we're proud of the cross-section of Americans that
What
are joining.
analysis did you do?
We did extensive analysis, Senator, and we agree with the assessment of the executive order that was issued by the White House that there are mental health issues associated with gender dysphoria that complicate military service and readiness, and as a result, we made the decision.
I have asked for that analysis. Please provide it to me and the committee.
We will provide it.
And then, Mr. Secretary, I think we can all agree that we are at a critical point in our history with respect to global threats that need to counter adversaries like China and Iran. You've gotten a number of questions along those lines. And I'm disappointed that you are instead focusing on a class of ships named for civil rights leaders. You chose Pride Month to direct the Navy to rename a ship named for Navy veteran Harvey Milk. This committee will continue to pursue serious work in the interests of American national security, and I ask you to choose to join us in that endeavor.
Senator, we're not interested in naming ships after activists. That's the stance we're taking.
This moment underscores a recurring tension in U.S. politics, balancing federal security powers with civil liberties. It also highlights transparency issues as senators demand specific legal justifications. If you value clear breakdowns of complex hearings like this, subscribe so you don't miss future coverage. Another major point of contention: budget transparency. Wisconsin senators criticized the Pentagon for omitting detailed procurement plans for frigates and destroyers, ships that Wisconsin shipyards build. Without this information, Congress says it cannot properly review or approve defense budgets. The Constellation-class frigate program has faced delays and costly modifications, leading to skepticism about funding future models. The Secretary acknowledged these challenges, but defended shifting priorities to modern threats. This dispute shows how defense budgets aren't just national issues, they're also deeply local, impacting workers, industries, and congressional districts. For ongoing updates on defense spending fights, hit subscribe and stay informed. The hearing also turned to transgender service members. A senator challenged the administration's decision to separate transgender troops, demanding to see the policy analysis justifying the move. The secretary cited mental health concerns tied to gender dysphoria and readiness, but offered no data during the exchange. This reverses earlier policies that allowed transgender individuals to serve openly. Critics argue the policy harms recruitment and morale, while supporters claim it ensures combat readiness. This debate reflects how social issues intersect with military policy, and why lawmakers are asking for concrete data rather than ideology. For deeper dives into how culture wars affect the military, subscribe to this channel. Lastly, the senator criticized the Navy for renaming a ship previously honoring a Navy veteran, Harvey Milk, during Pride Month. The secretary defended the move, saying the Navy isn't interested in naming ships after activists. Ship names are symbolic. Harvey Milk was the first openly gay elected official in California and a Navy veteran. Renaming decisions can become flashpoints in broader cultural battles over how the military reflects U.S. values. This moment reveals how symbolic gestures in the military, like ship names, can spark wider political debates about identity, recognition, and history. For balanced reporting on these cultural flashpoints, subscribe so you never miss an update.